Hey guys, it's Ryan here with AllMine Ranch, and Stanley always comes running as soon as I start talking. I wanted to do, well, let me back up. It's Monday morning. I haven't started my work week yet. It's still early. It's about 7 a.m. I am enjoying my coffee number 2. I drink way too much coffee. That's why my teeth are kind of stained, although I'm working on that. I've been whitening them lately. Hopefully that helps. I've been feeling like Rudy Giuliani with the effect that coffee's had on my teeth, which I'm a little bit self-conscious about that, so don't judge. But I just wanted to give an update for, I guess it's mostly of interest to friends and family, share what happened over the weekend and how I'm feeling before I dive into my work week. It is July 31st, last day of the month. We're about to get into August. It's been really hot, right? So I think there's been a heat wave that has engulfed the whole West. Here in the Bisbee area, it's been pretty darn hot. We've been pushing towards 100. I think yesterday maybe we topped out at 95. I think yesterday we saw a little bit of a shift, and I hope it sticks around. But my batteries, now that I have more battery capacity in my solar system, it takes longer to charge up my batteries, which means I can run them down. It takes, a full day to run them down, but it also takes a full day to charge them up. So future videos and future projects are going to revolve around adding more solar capacity to match the battery capacity. But that means yesterday, despite the heat, I didn't run the air conditioner for more than a half an hour. It was pretty darn hot. I was sweating most of the day. I have a spray bottle, a misting bottle. I spray it on me, and I keep a fan on, so there's breeze in between the breeze and the mist, and just putting water on my short hair, that helps a lot, but I have to do it pretty much constantly. But on impulse, I think on Thursday night, I ordered an Icy Breeze, which I think I talked about in another video. It's just a glorified igloo cooler with a fan and a pump, and it works like a swamp cooler, but instead of blowing cooled humid air, it blows cooled dry air. And I got it faster than I thought. I got it on Saturday, and I tried it out, and it actually let me enjoy being in my loft in the middle of the day, in the hottest part of the day. I was able just to lay down on my bed and relax with the breeze blowing directly on me, and tolerate the temperature in my loft, which would normally be well over 100 degrees. So it definitely made a difference. Now, is it cold like an air conditioner? No. But is it cool enough to take the edge off an intolerable situation? Yep. And I'm going to do a video on that. But what's been happening, and one of the reasons I felt compelled to buy it and drop way too much money for a big piece of plastic, is I've been trapped at my desk where I'm sitting. The way my tiny house is, and the way I have my mini split air conditioner located, hot air sinks cold air sinks and hot air rises. And my AC is in the main part of my tiny house, blowing right down on my office, which keeps it tolerable here in this chair at my desk. But, towards 3 or 4 in the afternoon, when I'm done working for the day and I want to just do something else other than sit at my desk. Lately, it's been too hot really to enjoy outside. I mean, I can go outside and do things and work on projects, but it's going to come at a price. I'm going to be sweating and irritable. And my loft has been intolerable as well, since all that, hot air rises and gets trapped up there. Plus, with a couple of skylights and everything, that it can get pretty brutal. So the Icy Breeze helped. But you have to have ice. That's the downside. But it came with 3, what they call ice blocks, which are just, water jugs that you can throw in the freezer. And I'm going to keep testing that, keep using it. So enough about the Icy Breeze. But I got that, and it helped. But I didn't run either my AC or the Icy Breeze yesterday, and I just tolerated the heat, which sometimes it feels a bit like penance. For what? I don't know. Anyway, just looking at my list. But because of the heat, I've neglected most of my projects, and I always, and that's typical. In the summer, I do try to take a break from all of my projects. But that comes at a price of my sanity a little bit, because it's the making forward progress on my projects and everything I going on that make me feel like I'm doing the right thing, even though right and wrong is up to each of us as individuals and it's all subjective, right? But progress feels good. Progress is important to me. And I've made a lot of progress this year, but even taking 3 or 4 weekends in a row off to mostly slack and just relax and not, overheat, it's important to do that on occasion. But yet, every time I do it, I do feel a little bit guilty for it. That's not to say I didn't, work on things, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm in the middle of an electrical project trying to wire up the new workshop, trying to add some lightning surge suppression capacity and ability to my system. I have lightning surge suppression devices to install. I have copper wire to run to grounding bars, bars that you pound in the ground, which I did a few weekends ago. I need to connect that all up. And it still is monsoon season, even though monsoons, you hear the quails chirping outside. It's been a mild monsoon season, but at any point we could get a lightning strike or some crazy shit. And if that were to happen after me spending a couple weekends not doing the work that I feel like I should be doing, there's the air quotes again, I got to stop doing that. I could stop doing that. I feel a little guilty, but it's the way it is when it's hot. I do try to cut myself a little slack, but it comes at a price. It comes with a bit of inner debate on, should I work, should I not work, etc. So if I didn't work on my projects, what did I do? Well, my generator was having issues. I even called Champion Generator Tech Support and talked to a really nice guy who kind of gave me the rundown. And I had, on a guess, I ordered a voltage regulator. It was about, $15. Not an expensive part, but it's just a little wired in, sealed little device that regulates voltage, and the display of the generator has a little display that shows me that my voltage, which should be around 120, 122 volts for household current, was only putting out 47. And every time I flip my little battery switch on the generator off, which shouldn't be required when it's actually running, it would shut down. So somehow it was like relying on the generator to help with the voltage or to keep it going, and it shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, I ordered that part and it came in, and so I had opened up the generator, it was kind of a part and not functional for the last 3-4 days. That part came in, I put it in, it solved the problem, I closed it back up. I had changed the oil a few days before, hoping that, that might solve the problem. I put some gas in it, which is always frustrating because gas cans are terrible. They all leak, except for one, but it's about a $90 gas can. I want more of them, but at that price, I'm going to go slow. Anyway, the generator, I ran it pretty much for like 7 hours yesterday, as I mentioned, to charge up the batteries again, which is why I wasn't running the AC, because I just wanted to get the batteries up to, and I got them up to like 95% capacity. So I worked on the generator, so that, is a good thing. I did do laundry. I needed towels and underwear, so I did about 4 or 5 or 6 loads of laundry, but those are mini loads because I have a mini washing machine, and then I hung that out to line dry. I need to go pull in some of that stuff. It's a bit tricky because when you have wet laundry hanging on the line and a generator running, the fumes from the generator can kind of get in your clothes and, make them not smell so fresh anymore. But I did laundry too, and then I just generally kind of cleaned up a lot of the chaos that was in the garage port and on my workbench and made that a little more presentable. But there's so many projects just in the garage port alone to work on, with shelving and painting and de-dusting and sort of cleaning up and organizing, plus the whole workshop, plus the next on and on. I just have so many projects, it's crazy. I also, inside, I did a lot of YouTubing. I both watching other people's YouTube videos. I'll talk about that in a minute. And working on my own ideas. I have another channel now. It's barely got any content there, but if you want to go check it out, it's called You Sure Talk a Lot, and I'll put a link below. That's essentially for every topic that is not appropriate for my main channel that you're watching this on, which is AllMine Ranch, and my sort of off-grid experience. But anything else I want to talk about, spirituality, money, sex, religion, current events, that kind of thing is going on, You Sure Talk A Lot. So I plotted out some video ideas, and actually I shot and uploaded 3 or 4 videos. I just haven't released them yet. So go check out that channel if you want to get more of me. So I worked on that. I watched a lot of YouTube. I relaxed. I worked on my budget a little bit, which I'm going to be talking about on that channel. I've been working off of a financial plan now since I moved to Dallas, and that was 7 or 8 years now. I've been living off of a budget, and I'm going to talk a lot on that channel about it because I think it's the single biggest tool to help a person go from sort of financial chaos or in the hole or just not building a retirement or not having investments. If you're just behind the curve and not feeling that you're doing as well as you could be financially, I think living off of a budget is the single best thing you can do for multiple reasons. So I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years. I worked on it. I fine-tune it. I'm not militant about my budget. If I have to buy a tool or something that was unexpected, or like the Icy Breeze thing that I bought on a whim, I can do that because I know I have money in savings and I can afford to do that. So I know what I can and can't afford, but I allow myself to exceed my budget in certain categories, and I do try to make up for it by spending less elsewhere. But sometimes I just have to agree that I'm going to spend some money in savings and then work harder next month to replenish the savings. So it doesn't control me, I control it. And that's the whole point of having a budget. You're telling your money where to go based on what's important to you in your life. So I worked on that just a little bit, which always feels good. And then I said I watched a bunch of videos. I watched romance scam videos. There's a channel out there that all they do is help people figure out if they're being catfished or not, which they always are, by some kind of scammer. And these are people who are typically older, about my age, who want to be in relationships so badly they will ignore 1,000 red flags. They'll carry on a multi-year relationship with people over text message, and all the excuses of why a person can't visit, why they can't FaceTime, why they can't shoot an impromptu video and say hello. They're in such deep denial. It blows my mind. And not only are they in denial, they are sending cash, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash to these people. And it's an interesting phenomenon because the longer the relationship goes, the more they have invested and the harder it is to face the reality that they're being scammed. And so they go into a deeper and deeper sense of denial. And it's just really fascinating how that works, and how people, even though they are basically spending their retirement money, they are wasting years of their lives, the feeling of being desired and of being wanted, being someone's king or queen, is such an addiction that they'll just ignore every red flag. And the funny thing about my life, and the reason I find those videos so interesting, is because I'm very intentional. I try to spend a great deal being awake and woke, I guess you could say, of what my own bullshit is and how I might be running a game on myself. And I don't mean in, that can apply to any area of my life. Being open and direct about my finances, about my career, about my prospects for love and relationships, about my health, about everything. When you do it, it forces you to be really humble because you realize you're not living up to all the expectations you might set for yourself when you're younger, but it also keeps you from making massive freaking mistakes if you're willing to be honest with yourself. So I try to be brutally honest with myself and just face reality and make course corrections as best I can in every facet of my life. And when I watch these romance scam videos, I'm just blown away by the degree of denial that people are in, both men and women. But usually they're at least in their early 50s, if not older. I'm 52 now. It's just amazing. And I spent a few too many hours last night watching romance scam videos, but I find it fascinating, and it helps me to remember to not run a game on myself. And then what typically happens on a Sunday evening, like for a lot of us who, work for somebody else who aren't self-employed, is I start thinking about, I got to go back to work tomorrow. And I try to live a life where I'm not hating my work. I do cybersecurity, information security, and a lot of the governance of info security. It's hard to explain what I do, but I help my employer make sure that the systems, the IT systems they're putting in place have proper diligence when it comes to cybersecurity. They've got the proper controls and systems and guidelines in place to make sure they're not going to put a system out there in the world that's going to get hacked on day one. So I'm not a hacker, but I do understand how to evaluate risk and look at technical controls, like encryption, and data in transit encryption, and things like that, antivirus, anti-malware software, things like that, to make sure that these systems are secure. So I am constantly evaluating how a system is constructed to operate for the long term. And I guess I think of my life in the same way. It's a system. I want to know how it's constructed, where are the risks, is it going to function long term, is it going to meet the needs, etc., etc. So there's a tie-in back to, why I budget and why I wouldn't fall victim to a romance scam, because I'm analyzing. I'm all the time analyzing, I guess, is the bottom line. So where the hell was I going with all that? I totally forgot. Oh yeah, I was thinking about, back to work on Monday. And I don't want to be in that cycle where you live for the weekend, you dread Monday morning, you're happy when it's Friday, you can start living on the weekend. That's not a good way to be. So I've been trying to make small shifts in my approach to my career and work, so that I don't dread Monday morning, although it's Monday morning and it's about time to start working. But I guess where I'm going with that is I try to be of service. I try to be helpful. I try to focus on the impact I can make at work, and not so much about how much are they paying me, what's my job title, am I being promoted, which generally this approach towards being of service is helping, and I am getting promoted. God damn, with the air quotes. Why do I do that so much? I have gotten a promotion, several of them over the last couple of years, and my authority and my responsibility level is pretty high. Higher than I would have expected at this stage of my life. So I guess I'm trying to reconcile being out here in the desert, working from home, setting for the most part my own schedule, but having a high degree of obligations to my day job, and trying to not let those obligations weigh me down, but instead of saying, hey, here's an opportunity to be of service. And I do better, some days are better than others. Some weekends I look forward to Monday more than others. Sometimes I do. I just want to call in sick and extend the weekend another day, but I don't want to be that way. I really want to enjoy my work. And even when I stop doing information security and cybersecurity, I'm still going to work part-time. I would really like to teach, maybe be a college instructor of cybersecurity or something like that. And I will continue to work probably into my 60s, maybe into my 70s, because I think it's important to make a contribution. So why can't I just make that contribution now? Like, why can't I just bring this attitude, this desire to help and teach and inform, like I do with YouTube, and bring that to my day job? And so that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah. As far as what I did all the rest of the time, I spent a lot of time on my deck watching the sunset, watching the clouds, watching rain and storms and lightning, which is the great thing about monsoon season. And we had some critters visit AllMine Ranch. So the critters, exotic critters, there's the air quote again, critters that showed up were roadrunners. I had a Gila monster. I was looking out my kitchen window, and a Gila monster crawled by below the window. So I grabbed my camera and went out, tried to get some shots, but he went under my Margo, my cargo trailer, and hid under a wheel. But I did post a photo to Instagram of the Gila monster, kind of a close-up of his face. And if you don't know what a Gila monster is, it's like a big, fat lizard. It's a reptile that can be poisonous if they bite you. But they're not aggressive. They're pretty sweet, and they just want to be left alone, like most reptiles. But I, got up to them and zoomed in with the camera. I didn't get too close, so I took a picture And we had road runners, no tarantulas. Cows have really been trying to come onto the land. And I like cows, don't get me wrong. But Stanley and I chase them off because they will drink all the water out of the bird feeder and stomp it. They'll stomp my vegetation, my cactus. They're just super destructive because physically they just don't notice things. They will stomp any plant, any shrub, any bush, any cactus that I've spent years growing. And they'll knock over the bird bath, they'll break shit, and my bird bath and my bird feeders and the cactus are all in a little confined sort of area just feet away from my front door. So if I let the cows just come in and do what they want, not only will they constantly invade that area, but the numbers will grow. They will shit big cow patties all over the areas where I have gravel and I'm trying to walk. So when they come and I see them, I open up the door and Stanley goes after them. And he's an Australian cattle dog. He's not intimidated for the most part by cows. In fact, he's being a healer. He will try to nip their heels. And I knew he was starting to get a little too aggressive and bold. And I made a comment about one of these days he's going to get kicked. And sure enough, last night I went out in the dark because he was making noise at the door and I knew something was up. So I grabbed a spotlight and lit up a couple of cows. I could see their eyes reflecting in the dark. He went after them, and when they didn't run off right away, he came right up to one behind it and tried to get it in the hindquarters, the legs, and he got kicked. Now he pulled back and sort of fainted because he kind of saw it coming, but it made contact and kind of it knocked him back about a foot. And I thought, oh shit, because a good kick to the ribs or to the head, a cow could kill him if I got a direct blow. But fortunately, it wasn't a direct blow. It was a glancing blow as he was moving back. And he shrugged it off and he ran back to the house, and I was watching him, and I touched him to see if he would, I petted him to see if he would like pull back because of pain or something like that. But he didn't. He acted like it was no big deal, and he's totally normal today. So thank goodness. I don't want to see him get injured by a cow. But yeah, he needs to not be quite so aggressive because cows are many hundreds of pounds and could kill him easily. So that was exciting last night before I went to bed, of chasing off some cows in the dark. And sure enough, as they're running away, they stomp the bushes, they stomp anything. You can hear them crashing through the underbrush in the dark. It's a little bit of a scary thing. And the cows have horns, if they really wanted to, they could probably gore them as well. I think that's enough of an update. This is now a 22-minute video. I just kind of wanted to share that it was a hot weekend. I sat on my deck a lot. I exercised. I'm trying to... I've noticed as I'm getting older, I'm losing muscle mass. My biceps are 2/3 of the size they were 5 years ago. My pecs are shrinking. My legs are getting skinny. I'm in this mode where I'm losing weight. I'm doing a mostly keto diet with some intermittent fasting. I've lost probably 20 pounds now, which is why my face is so thin and I look so old. But my love handles and my belly are coming off. I probably have another 3 or 4 months of continuing this course, plus with the running that I'm going to do for the 10K that I registered for. I am losing weight. It is coming off. I am getting smaller. But as that's happening, I'm noticing that my muscles are deteriorating as well. So I do have a weight bench with a little bit of weights, and I have 2 25-pound, hex dumbbells. So I have the dumbbells on my deck. So I go out and I just do a few sets of curls, and then I'll do some push-ups, I'll do some air squats, I'll do some, overhead presses with the dumbbells, and then curl, and I'll do some, core rotations and things like that, just to stay physically active, to remind my muscles that they're still needed, don't shrink, and hopefully to release some testosterone and some growth hormones into my system, so I'm not just decaying slowly into old age. I'm trying to maintain a somewhat athletic physique as long as I can, and I'm going to do more of that and maybe start budgeting for a really good all-in-one type weight machine, because I don't want to... Town is too far away. I don't want to... It's not super far, but it takes a little while to get there. I don't want to buy a gym membership and go around people and work out in a gym. I really like calisthenics, and especially doing calisthenics outside in the desert, in nature, especially around sunset or even right after sunset at dusk, where it's quiet. I'm all alone. I can just be out there and do my thing. and I watch the sunset and then just sit down and relax and listen to music. By the way, this thing, if you're wondering what those are, the green things, those are Ryobi speakers that are wireless Bluetooth speakers. That connect to my cell phone. So I can just put my Ryobi speakers on to my left and right and crank them up, get some good jams going, discover some new music on YouTube and have good quality sound. And I do that out on the deck. And I did a lot of that this weekend, in the mornings, in the evening when the sun wasn't beaming down on me. So am I relaxed and refreshed? I guess I am. Yeah, I guess it's time to start my work week. Oh, and the weather last night, it actually dropped into the 70s before bed, which was nice. A cool breeze came in, so that cooled it down, so I didn't have to run my icy breeze to fall asleep. And this morning it was 69 degrees. That's the first morning in about a month where it's been in the 60s instead of the high 70s. So we had a little bit of a shift. It may go away. It may get super hot again. I think we're supposed to hit 100 again by Friday. But hopefully we're starting to see a break in the intense heat and at least a lowering at night into the 60s. If we can get that, that makes the mornings and the evenings far more tolerable. And I'm okay with a few hours in the middle of the day when I'm working where it's 100 degrees. If it's more of a peaky, lower lows and higher highs, and it's a real peaky cycle in the temperature every day, I'm fine with that. It's when you get on these plateaus where it's in the high 80s, mid 90s, or low hundreds, pretty much all morning, all afternoon, all evening, that's when it starts to wear me out. So I think we're starting to see a shift, so that's good news. All right, I'm going to pack it up, upload this video, maybe not post it, but at least upload it and start the day job. I got a full day, it's a full week. And yeah, so I hope now you got a window, you know a little bit more about what my weekends are like in the summer, and I'll do another update in a couple of days. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join the other channel, You Sure Talk a Lot, because I got a lot more coming out on that channel. So if you just like hearing me ramble on, well, there you go. That's the way to do it. All right, see ya. Bye.